This week on Adventure Cities, we're in Darwin, Australia, the capital of the Northern Territory and Australia's gateway to Asia. Bloody hell! The capital of Australia's top end, Darwin sits in the far north of the country, closer to Bali and Borneo than it is to Bondi Beach. An intriguing city, full of character and tropical texture, it's home to an incredible restaurant scene, myriad museums and art galleries, and a magnificent medley of markets, showcasing the abundance of delicious food sourced right here on its doorstep. It tastes incredibly fresh. Oh, there's loads of chilli on it as well. If you're not used to the local spices, reach for a custard-like pawpaw smoothie to power you right back up again. Wow, I feel like I'm a superhero now. The tropical climate means Darwin is very much an outdoor city, and the art scene is no exception. Just wandering the streets here feels like exploring a colossal canvas. And if you're that way inclined, you can add your own flourish by booking an official graffiti lesson and a fresh stretch of wall. One of the best things about Darwin is that it's so close to Asia, and that really comes through in the prolific food scene here. One of the most exciting new restaurants is Ella by Minoli, and I'm going to have a cooking lesson today.
Great thing about Darwin as a chef is the produce here is exceptional. You know, you've got Southeast Asian produce, you've got native local Australian produce, and barramundi, mackerel, just everything that I want to cook with exists in Darwin. Today I'm going to show you how to make my curry leaf cured snapper dish.
Minoli de Silva rose to fame on Australian MasterChef. In 2022, she opened her own restaurant here in Darwin, where locals now have first-hand experience of her TV nickname, the Flavour Queen.
Yeah.
The next famous local to crack the whip was Mick Denigan of Mick's Whips.
The three main things, Jonathan, are hand on your hip, helicopter keeps the whip firm and you strong, wait till the crack is behind you, bring your arm back. Just nice and easy, just nice and easy.
Right, I think what I'm going to need is a proper hat. I'm going to have to go full Crocodile Dundee.
Success, yes.
It was the hat!
Great.
Woo! Arguably the most famous character from the Northern Territory is a fictional one, Crocodile Dundee. And just over an hour's drive from Darwin, you can have a little taste of his larger-than-life outback lifestyle at the Top End Safari Camp. So who are these guys? Why are they living here?
Mate, they're our rescue crocodiles. They've all got very different backgrounds, so it depends on the crocodile. This fella here, for example, he comes from a crocodile farm, so he killed about 14 of his girlfriends overnight.
No!
Yeah.
So how old is he then?
He's probably about 80 plus.
He's a pensioner?
Yeah, he's a pensioner.
Yeah. Is he slow and fragile?
Oh, God, no.
Really?
Oh, mate, he hits hard, yeah.
And he knows we're here?
Yeah, oh, definitely, he can feel us. Yep, he's ready.
Cock and roll. What the hell is he doing? That is insane. There are two types of crocodile indigenous to the Northern Territory. Saltwater crocs, otherwise known as salties, and freshwater crocs, you guessed it, freshies. The salties are bigger and meaner. Some of their resident reptiles are up to 15 feet long.
Crocodiles are perceived as an animal that without a doubt should be feared, but I definitely think, you know, with the right respect, you can understand them. Learning that animal, getting to know it, and once you know an animal, I think it becomes a little bit less scary, and which I think is, you know, really important for the preservation of the species.
The Top End Safari Camp is a haven for adventure lovers. Here, you can take an airboat tour through the rivers, creeks and billabongs with your onboard Outback Wrangler pointing out salties and freshies in the wild. To complement this, you can enjoy an entirely different perspective of the floodplains from a helicopter. You'll still be able to spot the crocs from here, but also all kinds of other wildlife, including buffalo, boars and brumbies, or Antipodean wild horses. Darwin has a strong claim to being Australia's wildest capital, but even out here, there's always time for a little bit of luxury. Darwin is very much a harbour city, and the ocean, or the Timor Sea to be more precise, is never far away, offering an abundance of options for thrill seekers. From high-speed jet skis bouncing across the waves to a more relaxed catamaran sailing with Darwin harbour cruises. From here, you can take in the city skyline from the water, making new friends with a glass of champagne in hand, while a private chef prepares dinner.
One thing about the Northern Territory is that helicopters seem to be a very common means of transportation. Just from being here a week, we've taken helicopters 4 or 5 times. It's almost like taking the tube in London. Right, now, this is awesome. The government up here in the Northern Territory of Australia has tagged a fish, a single fish, which is worth $1 million. Everyone's been fishing the rivers around Darwin for it. I've got a cheat code. I've come up here in a helicopter for a spot of heli fishing. Hopefully, this is where the $1 million fish has been hiding. I've got to be honest, I've only ever fished once before in my entire life. That was for sea trout in Florida. So it's completely different to get in a helicopter with a load of fishing rods, fly into the middle of nowhere and go fishing for barramundi in crocodile-infested waters.
I don't, unfortunately, see $1 million ticket on him. So he may not have won me $1 million, but he saved face a little bit.
Less than 2 hours from Darwin, you'll find Litchfield National Park, which is an area of pristine natural wilderness, where I'm standing right now. And this is one of the most famous off-roading tracks in Australia.
Hey JT, ready to go on an off-road adventure?
I am, mate.
Let's go.
Litchfield is a gorgeous national park packed with swimming holes and waterfalls just 90 minutes drive from Darwin. One of its highlights is Wongai Falls, a beautiful freshwater swimming hole at the bottom of an epic waterfall. Because it's so popular, they take all of the crocodiles out at the end of the wet season and relocate them, protecting the pool with nets, so visitors can swim and enjoy the natural power shower safely. Out here in the outback, nature never ceases to amaze, from the magnetic termite mounds which look from above like an endless churchyard to the breathtaking perfection of a spot like Sandy Creek Falls, which very few people have ever reached because it's so hard to get to.
Whoa! It's a secret pool in the middle of nowhere, and we've just flown here and landed on a slab of rock. Absolute paradise. Another fantastic thing about Darwin is it's so close to national parks, and we've explored Litchfield, and the next one I got a chance to see was Kakadu,
which is a World Heritage listed wilderness with a yellow water billabong at its heart.
You know, I really value my work here on Yellow Waters. You know, it can be life-changing. My grandmother, my great-grandmothers and the elders have instilled in me, you know, some of that knowledge that I get to share, you know.
This land has been your people's land for centuries and centuries.
Yeah.
The oldest living culture in the world.
Yeah, and when my grandmother was young, well, a lot of those crocs are still living, so when I go and forage them, you know, they're most likely the crocs that have been around from my grandmother's generation.
So the art in this area is mainly representing food. Same way of giving thanks before a meal. It's also giving thanks to, say, the big wallaby spirit.
The Northern Territory is Australia's most rewarding Indigenous homeland, and Kakadu National Park in particular is full of archaeological treasures and more than 5,000 examples of ancient rock art. Darwin is an intriguing city with a tropical end of Australia feel that's completely unique. It's renowned for its proximity to Asia, its tropical weather and its abundant wildlife. But it's also a young, dynamic, art-filled city with one of the most exciting food scenes in the country.
And very quickly you can be out in the middle of nowhere, like here. Kakadu National Park is an easy day trip, just like Litchfield National Park. There's so much to do here. It's an adventurer's paradise.